Hello everyone, my name is Onno, and in this video I will be creating PDFs in AppGyver. This video is made possible with craftmypdf.com. With craftmypdf.com you can design and generate pixel-perfect PDF documents in minutes. This video is different than my previous videos. In this video I will focus more on flow function and how to put an app together and how to create a custom JavaScript. If you really want to see how I designed the videos, please let me know in the comments below and I can make a video for that. Watch this video until the end and I will give you an exclusive discount for craftmypdf.com. Now, let's stop talking and start building the app. So let's start creating the app today. Okay, for today I've changed it a bit. I have already created the two screens. So instead of what I normally build the whole screen, I've today already created the screens because I would like to give you a bit more overview about the flow functions, so I think this is a better idea. If you still want to see how I built those screens, just leave a comment below and let me know that you would like to see that, and I can make a different video for that. Okay, so I actually have two screens. So let me go to this screen first. So this is the main screen. We're going to create an invoice. So we have a from date, we have a send date. We don't use this functionality. We have a particular specified date. So this is the date of the invoice, and we're going to open up here a date functionality here, and then here we have the invoice details. We have three fields there, which is a little picture and construction service. So that's like the type of service plus an amount for that total service, and then we calculate based on that. This will be a table. So we have multiple of these lines, and you can add those lines by pressing add. That would then open up a second page, which is this one here, which has a drop down. The drop down has in there three different items: construction services, also painting and moving. So I will select one of those three. I will enter the amount, press add service, and that will then add it to a list. And the list is a invoice details. It is a list with objects. So it has a cost, it has an image, the service, so that's the description of the service, plus a unique ID. So those four fields. At the same time, I have created some additional fields already. The due date, or actually it's the invoice date. The due date is the invoice date plus 30 days. I have some additional ones for when we're going to generate the PDF. So those are for these two here. And this one also is about when we generate the PDF, and I'll go a bit more in detail how that works. So so those are the app variables. So those is for the whole app. Whereas I also have on this particular page, the add service, I have a mounted service also. So those are then linked. I will link them, and I'll show you how I do that. I will link them up. So to the fields, and then on the main page, I also have one that's called total cost, and the total cost is this 1300, what you can see here. So so let me show you quickly the app, how it is right now. So if I then press, so it's nothing really works. So the whole buttons, nothing really works in here. So the only thing what works, if I press add, it will then go to the next. I can go back, or I can add and then do add service and then go back also. So that's the only thing is done. So next time when I add, I take from a drop down list here, I select one, I will then add the an amount, and we'll just add service, and we'll add that in the list below here. So let's start building a couple of things out, and then I'll show you also how then that integrates with the PDF. So let's create this add. So let's go. So first, a couple of things I would like to change. So I have, as I said, the variables with the company address. As you can see here, I would like to link them to my variables. So go here, data variables, app variables, company address, and it's the company name. And it's called company name. I'll save that here. The street, it's the same thing here. App variables, that's the street. I select the street here. I'm just gonna, all of them, I'm gonna link them together. Oh, that's the wrong one. App variables and app variables, company address. And I think we did, which one do we have the zip code? Which is this one here. And then the last one is country. And that is company address, and then country. So the link now, what I would like to do now is to set them. I want to fill them when the app starts. So go to page layout. So I want to do this when the page mounts. So the moment the page comes up, and I would like to set the so-called app variable. So this one here, we select then the company address. We select all of them, and then we set the custom object. So the company name could be anything. So I'll make it Introce Lab. The country is today is Portugal. It's Rue Maria M. Da 60, and the postcode is 7015438, and the city is Orto. We'll save that one. We press save now. And now let's go quickly back to the app. You now see in the top, in the front part now is now filled with that default value. So that's step number 1 now. So let's go to the next one. Let's close this one down so we can see a bit more. So let's set the date. So first let's set the default variable. So I can go back here, main page here. So again, I set the app variable, this one here, a bit more space there. And this time I would like to set the invoice date, what's the same as the invoice date, and I press save. And I'm gonna make a formula, that one. And the formula is quite straightforward. It's just there's a function called now, what literally sets now date. I have the time. I actually set both of them, so a whole one. So that's it. I press save, and let me just at the same time, let's do this one also. Let's copy that one and also set the due date, what is 30 days after today. So let's select here the due date. Let's press save. Again, there's a function for this. So we have actually a function called add duration. So add duration. Add duration. Add duration adds a number. So we have now. Let's use the proper. Again, so that's now. So add a number of days, months, of years. So the duration, I want to do 1, and the units is months. So it now it just adds 1 month to today, which ends up somewhere in July in this case. That's how it's calculated. That's it. We will not use this on the screen. This will be then sent for later on when we generate the our PDF. So that one, I've now done that one. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna completely hide that one, and we would like to set now the date. So we would like now to format that date here. So now how do we do this? Again, it's a formula. There is a function called format with times on. So this one here, again, so we would like to take the, which one we want to do. We want to do the app variable called invoice date. And what format do we want to bring it? We want to do date. You can see it starts to generate already here, so I'll help you with that, which is great. I want to do month, and then the last one is year. This gives us formatted exactly that. We then save this. That's the example. If I now press save, and if I show the app, you can see now that we have now 28/03/2022. What is the date of this recording? So that works also fine. So now how we change that date then? No. We change it by clicking this little button here. So we put an event on that. And there is a pick date time, which you can get from the Flow function market. You just find it and then select it. It goes here. After you've selected then, I will set that app variable, which I already have. So that comes in. So it says a bit about minimum day, a maximum. In our case, again, I use my now. Gives me for today. And so that's the minimum date. What's the maximum date? I would like maximum date not further out than a month or 2 months or a year. So again, we used, we go again, addition, we do again add duration. Then again, the date is now, so from today again. Now, instead of months, let's do, years. We don't want further than 1 year. Oh, 1 and then years. So it forces it not to do more than 1 year. Again, we'll save that one. So now we get the output. So let's check. Which output we get here. So you can see here. So the pick date. This comes with an error. I'm not going to take the error now. But here it will then, if you can see here, so the pick date, which is the top one, which one here. If it's a pick date, then the pick date is as an ISO format, so it comes out as this. So we need to then translate that into our date. So how do we do that? So come here. So it's not the API key. We would like to have the so-called invoice date. So we select that one, and we use for this a function, and the function would be date time. So I'm gonna generate a time because it comes in as a string, and I need to convert that to a date and time. So that's, you can see here, so it's from the outputs. So output from our node, we see these two. So there's the pick date. You can see here's this format. So that format, that's it. So I want to translate this text, this is a text, into a date format, which I then can store in correctly. So we'll save that one, and we press save. So now again, quickly, what we do, we click this button, we open the native date picker, we then select the invoice, and then the output that goes, then we take that one, the output, and we put it into this variable what we have here. So let's see how that would work. We go back to our app, click on here, it gets us the native ones, and I press 1st of April, and now you can see it has changed to the 1st of April. Let's start doing this this table now. This table here, invoice details, it has like 4 items, so it's a list and has an object. With object has 4 attributes, which is cost, image, service, and ID. So let's take that list and make that available. So we have this one here. So we go here, we have our line item here, and then for each individual line item. So let's first make it a list. We just select this one. We'll take the app variable, and we take the invoice details, and we save. So it gets 4 of them here. We'll save that. And now in here, I'm gonna just change I'm gonna link now the content of the label with what is in there. So it's construction service, this one, and then this one is with cost. The image we're not going to use this time, but it's the same principle. And that's the cost. And we'll save that one too. Let's see. Let's actually want to take 1300. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we now have this one. We now want to add an item. So how do? We click on add item. That will add another item. So let's go to the add item screen, or the add service item screen in here. So we have 2 local variables here, 2 page variables. One is called amount, the service. These are temporary variables. So we use this when you select an item, or you enter your amount, your service, or from the drop down, it will pre-fill these 2 fields. So how do we link those ones up? Back to view, we do this quite straightforward. Is it selected value here, and we make that equal to this page variable, and this one is the service. So that's the service, and the other one is the amount, which is in here, which is that one, page variable amount. So now we have linked them up. And now what I want to do is when I press add item, I would then like to add that item. So we go here, we press the button, and we set app variable. So we connect them together. So that's the flow. And then we select the invoice details. So this is the table we want to update. And then we're going to use a function for that. So I'm going to quickly copy this bit because this makes my life a bit easier. And then I'm looking for a function called withItem. So what it does, it returns a new list. So that's stored back into the variable. So it takes a list. So I have a list, and then you can add an item here. And as you can see here, this is then the item for that. So how do I then do this? So the list is my app variable, which is my invoice details. So take the invoice detail and then add a new one to that. Now I copied and pasted this already. It makes us, so the whole idea is an item. So we're not going to replace them with dynamic variables. This one is, we're going to generate a unique ID. There's a nice function for that. It just generates a random number, which I use here. Then the cost is also, so the cost, I actually going to take one from the page variables, which is called amount. This is a text, so I need to make this a number. So I can do this by doing number. Gives me a number. The image, I don't want to use any image. I'm just going to give it a null. So it's an empty object. And for the service, we do exactly the same thing again. We'll take the page variables and we take the service. So we go now from 1 to 2. So that looks nice. If I press save again. So now look at our app. We can now click add item. We then select painting and we make this 200. And now you can see it then adds nicely one. I can add another one. I haven't put in any validation. I can just add whatever I want to add here. So 200. So I can see now it continues adding it. So with that, I can see here, only thing like I see 300, 200, and 200. I would like to have that in dollars. So how do I do that then? So go back to my main page again. You can see 1300. This is currently cost is only a number. We would like to have a dollar sign in front of it. How do we do that? We use a formula for that. And so the cost is already there. And then the only thing what we want to do is to put in front of that a dollar sign. We can see here the output now is suddenly we have a dollar, which is perfect, what I want. So when it is output, when it's visible, I would like to make it a dollar sign. And then I really quickly show you, then it's now, you can see here it's now a dollar. So that's great. So it works as expected. The only thing what I like to do is like the counting. Like if I add two numbers, I would like to have the total amount being counted, added and added. So let's see how we do that. So we can what I go then is I go to the page layout, make it a bit bigger, and we have the event called page focus. This is when you go back to this page, this event is then triggered, and what I want to do every time this is triggered, I want to recalculate the sum of that. So how do I do that? I have a page variable. Let me go back here. I have a called total cost. So I want to use that. So go back up here again. So I go again, set page variable this time. Connect them together. So when the page is focused, you need to calculate the total cost. So how do we calculate total cost of a list? There is a nice flow function for this again. And it's actually, it says sum by key. And the key is the one where you would like to get it summed by. So where you get total by. So again, I go to my app variables. Again, I'll take the invoice details, which is this one, and then go back here. So by which one, any of these ones, do I want then to calculate? Now, it already gives me an answer. To me, it's the cost. In this case, is 1300. And I want to add directly also so that's 30. I want to make it a dollar again, same as the other one. So how do I do that? Again, similar idea. There's my dollar sign. We have now calculated total cost, but of course we also need to update then the variable on the screen so that it also changes. So let me close this one down. So this one here. So this one then needs to be the same as the calculation. This is, we can do actually directly the page variable, and which is total cost. We're gonna use 1000 just to show you that it changes. We press save, it's now 1000. So let's go back to the app now and I'll show you how it's working. So we have now, it's calculated at 1300. So if we now add moving services, and this is another 1200. So see, it calculates automatically that 2400 as we add another one. Moving services, which is like 300. And we add, and you can see it calculates it directly on top of everything. Great. That works fine. So we have everything we need now to generate a PDF. So let me show you how that works. So for that, we be using a service. There is a service, Craft My PDF, which I found really interesting and I really like it. It's really easy to use. I'm going to show you how it works. And also wait to the end of this video, because actually I can give you some nice discounts also for this. So thanks to the friends of Craft My PDF to make this possible. It's really appreciated. So what does it do? It is a API, and this API, when you call the API, it then it has a template. You create a template, and with that template, it then generates a PDF, which it then sends back, which you can then send out to somebody else. So how does that work then? So you have this is your kind of like dashboard. You can see how many you've used. Credits, and you get a nice 80 credit to test with, which is quite nice, and you can create 3 templates. So a template. So I've created already a template. You just create new template, and you create new template. So let me go to the editor and I'll explain you a bit how this works. So there is a designer where you add your logos, your text, the date, address, totals, subtotals, discounts, anything you want to need to have on an invoice. And literally it's just adding. You can just add in here. You can update. You can just add one. It's based on a JSON, and you can see JSON here. So it has an invoice number, a date, a due date, all those kind of things here, currency, a discount, name of the company, all those kind of fields you see here. And these are items, description, all those kind of things. I'm not using everything, it's just for me a demo, but you can do all those kind of things. You can add, and you can add more or remove more, and you can add, like for example, I can go to designer and I can just literally go in here and say, okay, I have to say, let's say I would like to have the country also here. So I'll just go down here. I already have the country already. Let's see. No, the company name, having most things already. So let's go back, and then so let's go and in this on this page you can also find the APIs you can see here. So let's go back into, so how do we do this then? So I would like to download the PDF. So so what will it do? It will actually download the PDF to my local device. So next time I open it, I don't have to go back to the website again. So I only have the one call, and then it's stored on my local device, and then I can, it's for me easier to, every time to open it goes quicker. So I go here, so download PDF, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show a spinner. Just wanna make, and I'm gonna create a custom JavaScript for this. And we're gonna call this generate PDF. We'll save this one. We click on here and we get ourselves into the custom JavaScript. I'm gonna remove this one. So the first thing we need is an API key. API key. Then the second is a due date I would like to send. You've seen we created that one already. Then we have the line items. This is the list. That's line items. I need to have a template ID, and I'll show you later where I can get one. Template ID. I also have a invoice date. Invoice date. And the last one is the company address. Company address. So we all need to link them up to our app variables. So this is the API key. That's an easy one. That's the due date. So app variable, and we have the due date. So I'm just going to link them all together. Invoice details. Template ID. Which is again here, template ID. And then the invoice date. Invoice date. And then we have the company address, which is again app variable company address. Company address. No, I'll just save it. We go back here. So if you go to variable and you go, that's my API key. I filled them up, and also the template ID. So you can have multiple templates. That's the ID you see here. So if I go back to I go back to manage template, I can see this unique ID here. This is the unique ID you need to put in here, because that's what the service knows which template you want to generate. Okay. So save this, make sure we don't lose anything. So go back here. We click again on download this, and we go in here again. Okay. So let's do it this way. So yeah, let's also start talking about what we want to have an output. So So something goes in, we process it, something goes out. So we will have, let's just remove this one, because, so the first one, what we want to get out is a thing called the file. So this is a URL. So this is then where the PDF, the generate PDF is stored and where we can get it from. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the status. So that's the status of generation, if it's completed, yes or no. And that is, for example, success. And then the last one, which is the transaction reference. So transaction reference. And that's just a long transaction reference which is sent by the service. So that's one. We also have if something goes wrong, I think it's always good to have an error message. So again, that's not what we want. We would like to have the error. So we have one called error. We create it, which is not a text. Actually, it's an object. And in there, we do not have an ID. We have one which is called error, which is the error code. So this will be the error code. Wait, that's the, I don't want the error. I want to have what is called, the one is called code. So it's the code, so that's the error code, which is a text. So could be 200, could be 400, whatever the error is comes out of that one. Then, so that's that one. We add another one which is called message. So that's the error message. For example, something went wrong. And then the last one is the raw error. The raw error. And that's literally a piece of text which has all the error in there. We're not gonna have that one. This probably is not required, because if it goes well, it's okay. But let's just leave it as it is. We'll update it again. I wish there was a save button, but there's not. Go back here. So what we have done, this is what we want to, this is what we get in. This is what we want to go out. And the main thing what we need when we get is this output is like a file, which is a URL, a transaction reference, and there's one more, which is the status. Okay. So let's go here and start. So we would like to get the API key. I would like to get the due date, the invoice details, the template, line items, sorry, there are line items, I have to take the right one. Line items. Next is template ID, template ID, and the last one is invoice. Hold it correctly. Invoice date. Yeah, and I all want to take them from inputs. So this is how I get all of these inputs here. I would like to get API key to that and store them into a variable or a constant in this case. So we're going to create the URL. HTTPS api.craftmypdf.com/v1/create. Yeah. So this is where we want to call our API. Then the next step is items. We declare a empty array called items, and we are gonna loop through of line items. So we're gonna loop through here, and every one we get, we want to push. So items dot push into this array. So again, we want to have a attribute as an object and a description, which we use item dot service. And then the other one, which is total, is then we want to do the cost. So this is that internal array we create with line items, would have description and total, would have service and cost. So this would be, for example, this would be the construction service. Yeah, and that's the cost. So that was the cost of that. So that was the extra items we created on that screen. So those ones are in here. What only thing I do is I put them into a different format so I can use them later on. So this has then filled an array with, based on how many line items, like 3 different records in there, kind of way. That's how you can describe it. Then the next part is the data I'm going to use. And for this, I am gonna cheat a bit, because I'm going to go back here, editor, data, because this is what I'm going to take. So I'm going to take these, and then we're going to take this one to that one. To here, and items is equals to items. Okay, so the invoice date. We have an invoice number, so I'll leave it as it is. The date. So there's a built-in library called Moment.js. Have a look on it online. Look for it. It was called Moment, and this is really nice for manipulating dates in JavaScript. So I'll invoice date here. And I would like to format this one. So I format this one. And I need to form particular way is month, date, year. So that's one. I do the same thing for due date. So due date, which is here. So that's the due date. I'll leave the dollars. I'll leave all the same. This one I'm going to use. We have the, we missed one actually. We missed the company address. So let's add company address. Just the button. Company address. Let's align a bit better so we can actually read this. So so now we can do the company. So we're just going to use company address, and because it's a object with attributes. So I can just do company address dot company name. I think I can spell it this way. Probably want to check that later. And again, so all of them. So the next one is street. Next one is, I think it's zip code city, but again, I need to check. And this one is again company address dot country. So we have those ones. I'm gonna leave the other ones as they are. There's not a field called gross total. I'm gonna send, we don't do anything with that, so it's just an additional field. I'm just gonna, random number, we're not gonna use this in our PDF anyway. And let's do this correctly or no. Let's check if these company names are correctly, and what do I mean? Let's save this one first. Variables, company address, let's check its company name. See, its company name, its country, zip code are all actually with capitals. So let's go back here. So it's actually its company name, zip code. So now we have all these ones. Items is literally items I just pasted in. So now we have the data we would like to send. So the next thing is now we need to send some variables, some post variables to the API to know that it's us, which data we want to send, etc., all those kind of things. So the first one is data. And all those things of how to do this, they have a really, Craft and PDF has a really good help documentation section. I will also link that below in the description, so you can go there directly and see what you need to do for this also. Then the next one is the template ID, which is a variable that comes into this function. So I can take template ID, which is in here. And then the next one is export type. So how do I want to when I receive the result? I want to have it in JSON format. Expiration, which is when will the PDF expire? So when will the link expire? I have 60 minutes. It can be whatever you want to do. I would not do it in production environment. This is just a testing. And then this is the name. I'll take the same name. Again, you should probably use a unique name. I'll take the same name here. And I just .pdf, because this is a PDF that comes out of it. And then the last one is a particular type of color setting, which we're not using, so I'm going to do false here. Get the comment there. So, okay, so we prepared our variables now. We have the date. The data comes in here. This is the post. This is the post we want to do to the API. So now we're going to do, this is what we call the settings of the API call. So how do we do that then? So we have a method, and the method told by us is post. So that's what we're going to follow. And then I have my headers. So my headers of my my API and my HTTPS post. I have one called content type. Content type. That is a application.json. Then my content length. So how long is the content I am going to send to you, to the service. I would like to, before I want to tell them, so I can do stringify data. So I make from a JSON or from a JavaScript object, I make that now a string. And I'll take the length of that. So I got the length of the content, how I'm gonna send. And I need to tell the API it's me, which is the API key. We do a comment there. Yeah. And then we do, and then what are we gonna send to that particular endpoint, API endpoint, and that is again a JSON.stringify. We're gonna send this data. So everything in this particular, so all this object you see here, this JSON object with everything in here, what I created, that is make a string, and that string is then sent as a post. So where are we going to post this to? So let's first make sure is that when anything goes wrong, let's catch that first. We catch the error. And we have a constant error. And we're going to say code. This is an unknown error because we don't know what happened. What message going to send? Something went wrong during fetching data. And we'll take the raw error, which is again error. What we're going to do with that, we're going to stop the function. We're going to send it to the second output parameter. And what we're going to send is the variable called error. Now we can remove this. So when something goes wrong, take the second one, which is output 2, which you can see here. 1 is 2, a bit confusing, but that's the one. The 0 is the first one, and 1 is the second one in the array, and then post the error out of that one. So what we're going to do then? We're going to create a response. So we're gonna await. In other words, we're gonna await. We're gonna do a fetch. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this URL, which I've created here. We're gonna call that that particular HTTPS endpoint with these settings, including this body, this post it there, and then wait for that you get something back. Okay, so now we get something back. After we have received something back, we convert that because we're gonna get back a JSON. So we then transfer that, we convert that into a JSON format. So it's like an object again where I can work with. So which variables do I want to get from that one? Again, I would like to have the file, the status, and the transaction ref. Where do I get it from? I come from here. What I'm going to do with it, I'm going to just push it out. As a object and file status and ref. So do a post to an endpoint. Wait for it to come back. If something goes wrong, it ends up in here. It says the error here. JSON here. Then I convert it to a JSON, the response I get. Then I take for that those particular attributes, file, states, and transaction, and put that into, as you can see here, put those one into here. Update. Okay, so let's quickly test this functionality. So we'll take the status, see what happens. And also on here, we also take the one here if this is the error one. So let's see if this works. And this literally I'm just going to try out to see what happens. Oh, it's an error, and I think already what it is. So let's have a look. So let's go back to the code. Let's go quickly see what we're doing. So an error. So the error occurs when we try to post it. So I see here it says data here. So what we wanted to post is actually post data, and now we actually do data, so that's the wrong one. So let's replace this one with those two. Press update, press save again. Let's try this out again. And press download. Oh, it takes a bit longer, which is good. And it says success now, which is great. So connection work, we get a PDF generated. We can't see it yet, but that's the next step in our build. Okay. So I'll leave this as it is. So what happens? So we generate a PDF. So what I want to do is I capture where the PDF is stored. I would then download that PDF. That's then being stored locally on the device, temporary. I will set the path also. And with that, I can do then a preview of the file on my device. So let's do those steps now. Okay, so let's first set the app variable. So the app variable in this case will be the PDF URL. So that's what we get as an output of generatePDF. So that's the file. So we store that one. With that, we would like to download that file then directly. And there is a thing called download files. Oh. So the name, it doesn't do anything. So with this, I would like to make my functionality say what? Again, we're going to use our one which says now. Gives us directly modified at, same one, same function. I want to get the current date. So that's this bit here. And then the download URL. I can take that from the just generated app file. So that's this one here. Save. So I'll save the PDF. I download it to my device. Then the next step, I want to then store the location of that path. So we go again here. We can take that one directly. So when it is successful, let's do we copy this one. If it's not successful, let's do here static text, what then says error downloading the PDF. Then this is not the PDF URL, we want to have the path. Now again here we want to do that from download files. And that becomes incompatible. Because I would like to have it comes back as a list of objects, and what I don't want, I just want to have the first, because I know it's always the first one. So how can I do this? I just take a function. I will take that one, but instead of I'm saying actually that's the wrong one. So let's go to output. And as you can see them here, the files, and then I would like to take the path. And the path includes the path word store and the file name. Really important, because I thought that the name ended up here. What's not the case. Actually, names always, it includes the name of the file also there. Really important. Yeah, so save. So I save that one. And then my next step is I have installed preview PDF, which is again, I can get it from the Flow Functions Market, which then shows that PDF. And that goes here. And with that, so what I want to show, I want to show again, the app variable, and that is the path. And if that all went well, I would like to hide my spinner. So I can, and I'm with the error one, I'm not going to do anything with the error one, which is fine. I do want to, after this one, I want to put this here. And the same if I go an error here, I want to do that one also, just to make sure. Let's do not this one, let's push them directly hide. That's just to show the hide the spinner, otherwise we get the spinner all the time. Yeah. So again, we call the API, we get back this URL, everything goes okay. We then download that file ends up on a local device. With that, we then local device, and then with that we have the path, and the path we put into to preview the PDF. We'll save that one. Let's see if this all nicely works. So let's show it. I'm just gonna do one just to show you that it works. But later on I will change it so you can show. So there we go. And there we go. Let me zoom in more. You can see here now all those things what we have entered. You can see the date, due date 28, number of services. So let me show you that it's actually interactive also. And this is the bit where, so let's do this again. So let's add a couple of options here. Let's painting services for 500. And let's also add moving services for another 500. Yeah, so 2300. So let's just press this again. Let's start downloading this again. Again, generates a nice PDF again. You can see now, instead of having, we have now nice 3 services. Cost calculate here, 2300, and we get even a nice discount here, total discount with everything on there. So yeah, now then there's one thing I would like to build. So let's go back and build the last bit. Then I would like to send I would like to send to somebody this invoice to somebody. So how do we do that? This unique link. So let's first use a if function. We just want to make sure, we want to check. We go in here, function. We want to check if the app variable of the URL, this one here, it needs to be filled. So if it's not, if it's not empty, so if it's not empty, yeah, then if it is empty, I would then like to an alert noticing people saying, no, here, generate, click, download PDF first. And so if it is filled, I would like to open the native sharing. And the text to share, I would like to use I would like to use this PDF URL. So if I now press save, and I'll show you. So if I now click on it first, it says click download PDF first. Let me change the date to the 30th or 1st of April. I think for the rest everything is fine. I'm just gonna now generate it. And there it is. So I've generated now this URL. If I now click in send invoice, it would open my native sharing, and then now I'm able to send it to whatever I've chosen here to send it to, and copy it or save to whatever I want to do with it. Yeah. I'd like to thank everybody for viewing this video. I hope you learned something from it. It was a bit more advanced than before, but hey, I would like to take you guys on this journey, what you can do with AppGyver. So this is a really, I think, an interesting use case for this. Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more videos, click subscribe. And I would like especially thank today my friends from Craft My PDF. It's a really cool service. They have offered a 10% discount. So here's the coupon code if you really want to try this service as well. So the only thing I can say, thanks again, and see you in the next video. Stay curious.